everyone, how are you feeling today? It's Eros31 here, and today I'm coming at you with a Demise and Ruin deck profile. Now, this deck is very fun, but before we jump right into it, there are two quick messages I want to give you guys, or should I say, said to you guys. So the first one is about the replays. I heard there are a lot of you guys that want to see replays that I do, but unfortunately right now I don't have the time. As well as, like, I'm in the middle of really important things. However, I might going to have something exciting about that in the near future. I need to check that out. Worst case scenario, I'll do it myself when I will be able to, but I might be able to make something. So I don't really want to announce it that much because it's not 100% yet set. But if it will be, sure, I will tell you guys right away. The second thing is that there are some of you guys, and sorry, I'm kind of like fixing the camera, just a little bit of on a weird angle for me. The second thing is that you guys ask me all the time for some particular deck profiles that have some, should I say, meta-relevant cards, like Summon Sorceress and stuff like that. Like, a deck that I heard, again, that people ask is Vendreads. Well, I like to make a deck profile really soon, but unfortunately I like to wait with those kind of decks after the ban list because sometimes you lose some particular cards and then people are like asking you immediately, where is those set cards? Why are you not putting that? And I'm getting a little bit tired of that. I kind of like, it's okay, but it's like, it's a little bit of annoying that like people are like starting shout out on you in the comments that like 5 cards of your deck need to be switched, even though you wrote that in the comment anyway. So it's a little bit of, annoying, but whatever. We'll deal with that, and like I said, when we're going to get the ban list, I will do all the decks that you asked for me that I did back in the day once again. But let's just jump right into the deck profile anyway. And I think Demise and Ruin, it's a deck that is really fun. It's a very fun ritual deck. It's not as strong as, like, I would say Necros. It's not even come close to the idea of like how Necros was, but it's still a very fun deck. And it's mostly OTK based, so if you like OTKs, this is a very fun deck for you. And fun to play around if you like OTKs and rituals. So let's get started with the 3 copies of Demise, Supreme King of Armageddon. Now, before we'll start with that, I will just like to say that the big version and the little version, both of these have the effect of like count as a the original Demise while in your hand or on the field, and same goes for the 2 other versions of Ruin. Just get that out of the way. And this card, while it's on the Ritual Summon, ritual monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. And then if you use only Ritual Summons to Ritual Summon this card, you get the effect of not paying 2,000 life points for the following effect, which is destroy as many cards on the field as possible, and then, except itself, of course, and then inflict 200 damage to your opponent for each card they owned that is destroyed. So essentially, every card that they have on their field that is destroyed, they received 200 points of damage. So 5 cards, 1,000 points of damage, which is really cool. Now, the paying 2,000 life points, it doesn't really matter, but it's still, nice to have the ability to not pay them. Next up, we're moving to the original Demise, which I run 2 of. You guys can run 3 of. I just only have the 2, and I also like to run with the 1 Ruin, which we'll get to it. I still think 1 Ruin is okay. But Demise, King of Armageddon, is pretty much the same effect, only without dealing the 200 damage for each card they control. And then you also don't have the ability to essentially take off the damage, the paying 2,000 life points. You're paying 2,000 life points no matter what. Just 2,000 life points, Raigeki. Or should I say Dark Hole, because it also affects your field. And, of course, this card is the only card that essentially survives, because it doesn't destroy itself when it uses this effect. Just want to clarify. And then lastly, Demise, Agent of Armageddon, when he's Ritual Summoned, he pretty much giving you the ability to pop a card on the field, which is really cool. Actually, not a card, a monster. My apologies. 1 monster, face-up monster on the field. And if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target a ritual monster you control, and your opponent cannot activate effect in response to its any ritual monster activation. So that's actually really cool, because you can essentially guarantee your Raigeki. Now, I only think I need 1 because it's not really that amazing, and I need 3 of these because these are the core of the deck, and 2 of these because they're also kind of important. But this one is just a nice card to search with Preparation of Rites, and just a nice card to draw. You don't really need this card. It's just a nice guaranteed way if you need to, and just a level 4 if you need to. So essentially, one copy of that is enough. But if you guys want to bump out the little guys, because I've seen builds that run 3 of him or something like that, or 2 even, and you just want to bump it, you're more than welcome to. Moving on to the Ruin monsters, we run 3 copies of the original, of the, of the big Ruin Queen of Oblivion, and then 1 of the original, and then 1 copy of the mini version. Now let's start off with Ruin Queen of Oblivion herself, and she has the ability when she destroys an opponent monster by battle, she can attack again. So that's actually kind of cool. But her attack stat is a little bit, not the best, but she still, I think, is a little bit important for the name. Of course, you can cut her down completely and just run the big Demise, not the big Demise, the original Demise at 3, but I just don't have the 3 Demise, and I still think I need a 3rd copy of, the originals. So I run 1 copy of her. And then let's move to the big Ruin. Big Ruin is absolutely amazing in my opinion. She has the ability to pretty much protect your ritual monsters by card effects, which is kind of cool. Destruction by card effects, my apologies, the camera moved a little bit. And then, as well as if you use only ritual monsters for her summon, she has the ability to attack twice, and if she attacks and destroys a monster by a battle, you deal damage to your opponent equal to its original attack. So essentially, you attack let's just say 2,800, they receive 2,800 points of damage as a burn damage. And then lastly, we have the Mini Ruin. Mini Ruin is, again, it's a really, really cool card, and if it's Ritual Summon, it can make 2 attacks, which is not really that relevant. However, it was sent to the graveyard, you can target, if it was sent to the graveyard, I'm sorry, I felt like a tongue twister for a second. If it was sent to the graveyard, you can target a ritual monster you control, and while it's face up on the field, your opponent cannot activate card or effects when your ritual monsters declare an attack. So that's, again, a little bit of a awesome little effect that kind of helps, but it's not absolutely necessary. If I would say there isn't any one of the little, the 2 little ones, I would say definitely Mini Demise is a lot more important than her, but her effect is not that bad either. So essentially, those are your Ruin monsters. And like I said, you can play around with it and do whatever you want if you feel like it. Now, of course, I would say 3 Ruin Supreme Queen of Oblivion is very, very important. But the other, Ruin monsters, you can play around with them or not play them at all and just maximize on the Demise. I just don't have some of the cards, but I also like to play with both of them. So, yeah, that is your option as well. Now, I also run 1 Saphira Queen of Dragons, which is essentially supposed to be Chalice Slime. I don't have Chalice Slime, but if you have Chalice Slime, I'd recommend to play 1 Chalice Slime because it's really, really good. The Incantation Engine is really, really good. And speaking of the Incantation Engine, 2 copies of Tales Mantra, 2 Candle, 2 Bookstone, and 2 Pencil Plume. I don't think I need to explain those guys. They're really, really awesome. I might bump them all in the future to 3 because of the ritual spell that coming out, field spell that coming out in Dark Neostorm, and it's just really, really good, and it's helped with that a lot, and, it's just giving you the ability to summon 2 copies of them if you shuffle 1 from your hand. So it just maximize on them might be important, but for the time being, 2 of them is actually kind of nice. Moving on, we run 3 copies of Manji of the 10,000 Hands. I don't think I need to explain that. It's really, really important. I don't think you need to go over the top to also run Sanju and Sonic Bird, but if you really, really want to, again, you're more than welcome to do that. Moving on to the spells themselves, we run 3 copies of the Cycle of the World and 3 copies of End of the World. These are your 2 ritual spells that summon you the so-called monsters. This one is really, really cool and a lot better than this one, but still, it's just, it's actually not bad to have this one specifically. This one is the one that is searchable, and it's really, really important that your monsters count as the original names in your hand because it's summon only them. And then you must tribute monsters with a level equal to the level of ritual monsters you are attempting to ritual summon. So that's the old text, attempting to ritual summon. That's actually kind of cool to see that again. And you contribute from your field and your hand. Unlike this one, which you can, ritual summon, but the Ruin and Demise, again with the original name, because they kind of like make that a thing, and because of that they're also like I said again, they're called the rituals. The other ones called the original versions. They're treating themselves as the original versions because of that. But this one, you must tribute monsters from your field only. But you can exceed the number of levels. So essentially this one, if you want to summon one of the big ones, you must absolutely only have 10. But this one you can just go like 13, 14 if you have to. So it's essentially, they both have different purposes. And then this one, during your main phase, except this card was sent to graveyard, you can shuffle this into the deck. Add one End of the World from your deck to your hand, and then you can add one Ruin and Demise. And it's actually really important, and because of that, I actually think like running Ruin and Demise, like having like 3 copies of them because of this card is actually really important. But there are also another card that actually help with that, and that is 2 copies of Turning of the World, because Turning of the World is ritual summoning Ruin and Demise, but only the original ones from your deck, because these guys don't count, and like all the others that I said that like get names, they don't count as Ruin and Demise while they're in your deck. They're only counted when in your hand or field. So this one is essentially really good, and that's why you need the 3 names essentially. And they're letting you tribute from your hand or field, but you summon a ritual monster from your deck, which is actually kind of cool. And that's actually really nice. And it's also kind of like, if you have to, can be like kind of a reaction-y protection thing if you have to protect yourself and your opponent forces you to go first. But essentially this is an OTK deck, so you're mostly not going to go first. Unless, of course, you build your deck to be like that. Moving on to continuation support for rituals, preparation of rites, because you essentially, let's say, add, again, one of these and the original ritual spell, just a really cool way to search that. And that's really nice. And that why again I think you need to have 3 copies at the very least of the original ones, a mix of them if you want to, and then 1 preparation of rites just to search your 3 other targets, which are the 2 little guys and then the chalice slime. So that's actually kind of nice. Of course you can just bump this up to 2, but I just feel like unlike this, it's less better, so just 1 in my opinion. Moving on for the additional support cards, just to help you in the game. 2 Pot of Desires, which are supposed to be Pots of Extravagance, I believe the name of them is. They're really good in this deck, because you don't really use the extra deck. So 2 Pot of Extravagance is actually really good, but 2 Pot of Desires is not bad either, because sometimes you need the draw power. But if you have Pot of Extravagance, it probably should be that. Worst case scenario, and you don't really want to run like Pot of Desires, and I think like Pot of Desires is bad. Like I said, you can just make this into another preparation of rites and extra Foolish Burial, and then put in your extra deck essentially Herald of Arclight, which I'm actually doing, but just like I said, it's just another way to work around if you need to. And then lastly, Free Called by the Grave, because hand traps are annoying, and this deck is a deck that needs to OTK, and you need specifically cards not being, stopped. So I think like Called by the Grave is actually really good in this deck, and it's good in every deck, but in this deck specifically, it's really nice. Moving on to the extra deck, which is not the most important stuff, because we finished with the main deck. You can put whatever you want in here. I just put Hope Harbinger because I wanted to. The Spider Engine. Gustav Max is actually really important, to be honest. Like, Gustav Max is actually important. And then I also put this one just because I want to. You don't really have to put this. But Gustav Max is really important. Like, Gustav Max is pretty much, you put 2 level 10s, you finish all of your things, and then if your opponent have last life points, you essentially burn them with Gustav Max. So this is a card that I would recommend if you run Pot of Extravagance to actually maximize this card on 3, because it's actually help you finish your OTK. So that's actually kind of nice. And then 1 Herald of Arclight. If, of course, you run Extravagance, probably don't run this card because, it just doesn't really help you. I only run this because I just want to, like, as an option for those that want to run extra Foolish Burial instead, so this is here because of that. Same idea for Elder Entity Ints. And then Underclock Taker because it's help you OTK, just because I don't have anything else to put. Cerberus, Phoenix, This one, because sometimes I actually go to it, because it's also, again, 4800, so if you need to get over something very, very big that you can't, and your Demise can't get over that as well, because they're 3000, this is another option. And then this one's supposed to be the Unicorn, and then Borlow Dragon, again, another option to get you over some big stuff that you cannot get over with your other monsters. And that pretty much does it for the deck profile, so I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I'm hoping that I didn't really take too much of your time. This deck is really fun in my opinion, and I'm hoping that I didn't really sound like a guy that doesn't know what he's saying around, because this deck is fun, but there are a lot to explain about it, because it's very, very simple, but there are a lot of effects. So, yeah. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I'm saying that again. Remember, guys, creativity is the key in this game. Have a good day, guys. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.